What is up, guys? It is yours truly, King Gates, and I'm here to give you guys Black Clover episode 126 review slash reaction. So the reaction per se is just me going crazy, but the review is me talking about Charlotte because this episode adapted chapters 220 and half of 221. The ending of this episode was definitely a teaser, and now I finally understand why Gauche and his family were in the opening. I understand why, because Gauche has a curse, and the main point of this episode was to figure out more about the Rose curse that Charlotte, the captain of the Blue Rose Knights, has. That was the main point of this entire episode. But before we got to that point, which is like the last 2-3 minutes, we had 18 minutes of Charlotte pretty much trying to confess her love to Yami. And honestly, it seems like Tabata will really put this in his manga. Because, again, I don't really read the manga right with the anime. I kind of just read it like when it's 100 chapters or 50 chapters behind. Definitely not on the current arc at all in the manga. Anime only for this. So I'm kind of surprised, but kind of not, considering everything Black Clover anime and manga represents and how there's always so many funny moments. Plus, they kind of want to drag out these episodes considering there's only like, what, 246, maybe 47 chapters of Black Clover, and this episode adapted chapter 220 and half, of chapter 221. So there's still so many chapters to go, but we don't want to adaptate more. They're probably going to cut down and only do like one chapter and either do a little bit of filler or kind of pace it slowly, kind of like how One Piece does sometimes, where the pacing kind of just messes it up. It drags out some things and it lets the manga kind of like go ahead. That's why everybody's tripping, talking about, oh, Black Clover, anime is catching up to the manga. It's like 20 chapters. What's going to happen? You do realize, and I'm going to say this again, you do realize One Piece manga and One Piece anime are pretty much the same thing. Like, they're just as close. But the thing is, Toei Animation always uses their pacing to pretty much add or extend more of the scenes and moments in One Piece. That's what they do. The One Piece manga is still going on with the chapters every week, maybe a break here and there, but the pacing is what makes it different for the anime, which allows the anime to still come out every week and allows the manga for One Piece to come out every week. I think the same thing is going to be for Black Clover. I feel like Studio Period learned their lesson with the filler extension and too much filler essentially with Naruto and Bleach, and they don't want to do that. Hence the reason why we don't really have a lot of filler. We had like maybe 3 filler episodes back to back, one of which, or two of it, were essentially like previous freaking scenes. Essentially, they were essentially like just previous moments that were happening. My favorite parts about this episode was Charlotte essentially trying to confess her love and her likeness and all that stuff regarding Yami. And it was amazing because I didn't think I would like an episode like this, especially in the middle of it trying to investigate the devils and whatnot. But I did. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think that I could like Charlotte already as much as a character than we already did. But I did. I did. I actually liked her even more after this episode because there's not too many like strong-willed, hard characters in anime or even really in Black Clover right now that kind of go with this whole like I like this guy and I don't care anymore, or like I'm shy but I'm still tough as nails. Like, I like that whole dynamic that she has, and I love the relationship she has with Yami to the point where we're talking about her Rose Curse. Her Rose Curse is pretty much the same curse that she kind of has, like the power, essentially, because I'm trying to put it in good words so you guys can understand. The Rose Curse is pretty much the same power she has, but amplified to the max. And Yami was asking questions regarding this, and he basically said, I want to know more about the Rose Curse, considering everything that's happening with the Devils and the Magic Knight Parliament, as well as Asta trying to clear his name. Otherwise, he's going to get executed. Like, that's the biggest thing. And I think that was one of the things, like, we don't really got time for this. But again, it's great if you really enjoy the character Charlotte, and or even Soul. It's really great if you enjoy two of these characters, because it shows more of Charlotte's side, and it shows her actually trying to talk to Yami for, I don't know, like the first time ever, because there's a little flashback scenes regarding when the elf possessed, I believe it was Charlotte, and Yami and Charlotte had to be together, but it really wasn't Charlotte. But Charlotte somehow, still has memories of the moment and whatnot, and she's freaking out. Like, it literally got to the point, one of my favorite scenes in this episode, if not my favorite scene, is when Yami was slowly but surely trying to ask her a question, and as soon as he said, "Can we talk about the curse?" she sprints out of the building. Like, she's in the hospital, mind you. She sprints out of the hospital, like, all over the street. She ended up unintentionally catching robbers and catching bad guys, accidentally taking babies and stuff. It was hilarious. Like, the whole animation for that moment in particular was great. It was great. It was funny, and it wasn't too much. It really wasn't too much, because you could tell that she really was nervous. She really was scared. Her heart was building up, because she did like Yami, but you know, she's a woman and she's a Magic Knights captain who pretty much has an all-women's crew, an all-women's squad. So she didn't want to like go against her partners and her crewmates and all that stuff. She didn't want to do that. But she finally took her squad mates, and she was like, "Listen, I like Yami, and I gotta resign as a captain." Next thing you know, popping out. I got a boyfriend. I've been hiding them, but I didn't want to tell you. And they were literally pushing Charlotte to talk to Yami at this point. And I really thought we were gonna find out more about Yami and Charlotte, and if they're going to do something, to the point where Yami's oblivious. This man is oblivious. He didn't even realize Charlotte liked him. He actually thought Charlotte hated him because of the way she's sprinting out the hospital because of the curse. So he's oblivious, just like Asta is, which is why they're so much alike. But then Asta peeped game. And he was like, "Yami, like, chill out. I don't think that she hates you. She kind of acts like how Noelle does. I think she just trusts you a lot. She just can't get out her feelings." When I seen that, I'm like, damn, Yami, you out here getting pointers from Asta? Like, come on, dog. You supposed to be doing better than that. You supposed to be doing, like, what's up, baby? Like, come on. But moving on, I think there's two more things I want to talk about. One of them being pretty much the backstory to Charlotte and how she got the Rose curse and who helped her. And the person who did help her was Yami. And this was years and years ago, and I thought this was pretty cool. But it also makes me think, how is Yami always in that spot to where he can kind of find these people and make them like his friends and his partners or whatever? You know, I didn't think that Charlotte, unless I'm wrong, unless I forgot something, but I didn't think Charlotte was, you know, had this same necessarily past or whatever. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to her, clearly, because this happened on her 18th birthday when the Rose curse really came on too. But she said she could have easily like got out of it, considering if she asked for help, and which is why Yami was like, "I like tough girls, but you know, you can ask for help sometime." And then the last part of this episode, which was my favorite part, was finally the sit down talk between Charlotte and Yami, talking about the Rose curse. So the Rose curse is essentially a curse that is brought by somebody else, another individual, but they believe is otherworldly, okay? And this person who brought this curse to Charlotte and the Rose curse, and to her family, whatnot, they believe this curse is from a different world, and the person who did it had a grudge on Charlotte's family. But she said, "Don't worry about me. You should ask somebody who's actually been exposed to curses, or actually been exposed to a curse a lot more than I have. And it's somebody in your own squad, Yami." So me, I'm thinking like, who is she talking about? Who got a curse? And I was like, I know Asta got the curse with his hands, but he got those fixed. He's smooth. I guess she could be talking about Henry, considering like he drains mana from all his friends and anybody who's essentially around him. But is that considered a curse? I mean, I guess it is, but like, who is she talking about? And we finally get a little still frame of Gauche. And everybody remembers Gauche, right? Okay, cool. But everybody remembers in the opening when we seen Gauche's family. So I think I understand why we're finally going to see Gauche's family, to find out basically more about curses in general. And then we're going to be heading to the Devils, to basically clear Asta's name for the Magic Parliament. I cannot wait. This episode was great. Again, if you don't like Charlotte and you don't like really necessarily funny episodes, then you might not like this episode. You almost might think it's filler. The only reason why I didn't think it's filler, or why it isn't filler, excuse me, because I know exactly how many chapters they annotated, was because they still tried to talk about the curse. So if you don't really like that kind of stuff, you might not like this episode. But if you do and you enjoy just the comedic base of Black Clover and just that overall fun-filled adventure type feel, you're gonna like this episode. You're gonna like Charlotte, you're gonna like Soul, you're gonna like Yami and Asta's basically relationship, and how again Asta's putting game onto Yami. You're gonna like little moments like these. You know what I'm saying? These are little moments. This kind of reminds me of My Hero Academia, where they finally fight a big fight and there's like 2 to 3 episodes where they're just chilling, and this is like what it reminds me of. We didn't really necessarily move the plot down, the main plot essentially for the Devils and Curses, until the end of this episode, but the ending teaser for this episode really made me excited and can't wait for the next episode, considering Gauch and his family. And I'm again, he had a whole still frame of an opening by himself. I need to know why. I need to know the role and exactly what is he gonna do? What is his family gonna do? Are we just gonna see them? Because truth be told, they look like the Addams family. I don't know if that was something that Tabata was going for, but it looks like it was definitely something he was going for. Again, the plot really didn't move this entire episode besides the end of this episode, excuse me, but Charlotte and Soul definitely got some needed character development. At least Charlotte did. Not necessarily character development, but progression in terms of her character and trying to finally tell Yami how she feels, finally tell her squad mates how she feels. I can't wait. That's pretty much it for this review and reaction. I was really excited to watch this episode. Didn't think I was going to get all of this, but at the end of the day, I'm grateful and I can't wait for next week. Any Black Clover content, you come here and you check me out, because I am the 1, the 2, and the 3 King Ace. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And until then, let me know what you guys think. Black Clover is the best.